Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. This is Jacqueline again, coming to you from the beautiful Maymont Park here in Richmond, Virginia. How are you? I hope that you are well. I hope that you are well and taking really good care of your well being. I do want to share again the purpose of my messages is just really to add to the many beautiful conversations that are happening now around the world about trauma, about the effects of trauma, and how do we move towards God intended plans for our lives. So, in this message, I want to talk about what happened to us and how we can be open and honest about what happened to us. You know, when we experience trauma, when trauma happens. And for many of us, I think we keep things to ourselves. We don't know how to express this pain that we're feeling inside, and so we internalize it. And this happened to most of us when we're children because we don't have the right people around us to help us understand that what happened to us don't define us, right? And so this internalized pain that we feel, we now mature into adults and we take this pain into our friendships. And I've talked about this in my previous videos before. But we have to get to a point now to realize that the impact of trauma have really taken us off the path, the intended path that God has for us. And when we're taken off our path, it reshapes our personality, it reshapes the way we see ourselves, and it reshapes the way we see the world. So we see the world from that pain. We take the pain into our friendships. We take the pain on our jobs. We take the pain in our relationships. And that pain is stored in our bodies. And so I cannot wait to read this particular book that Oprah just wrote about what happened to you. And so I can't wait to dive into it because I know it's going to answer so many questions for me and to really give me more context, to give me more understanding so I can be a blessing to you. So my journey, is so interesting because my life journey, as far as my experience, my traumatic experiences, God is now using to help and to bless the lives of others. And what I love about what He is doing is that He is restoring my joy. He is restoring my excitement and my zeal for life. That as I am sharing this, it is very painful. It is very painful to relive it and to share it, but there's still this peace and there's still this joy and there's still this excitement attached to it. So the Holy Spirit showed me that we were created in love and to be loved and to feel love. But when these situations happen, sometimes we don't recognize them as traumatic experiences because sometimes it's normalized in our societies, it's prevalent. And so we're saying, oh, that's how things happen here, or it's no big deal. But it is a big deal because it's stored in our body. And we spend a long time trying to figure out, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? The pain is stored in your body. And that stored pain we take out into the world. But when we come to Christ, when we come to Christ as Christians and we understand that God has an intended path for us, we have to come to a place where we find the courage and we ask the Holy Spirit to give us the courage and the boldness to speak our truth and to be okay with it. So many people I've met, and even when I remember my journey, which is not so far away, I remember just feeling ashamed and don't want to share what happened to me. But the moment I start to understand vulnerability and the power in vulnerability, I start to open up. I no longer look at the people who were just so happy and measuring myself upon my life against their lives. But I start to rest in my truth. I start to rest in my truth that their story is not my story. And in order for me to get to the intended joy that God has designed for me, the intended peace, the intended purpose that God has for me, I have to pay attention to my story. I have to be vulnerable. I have to be open with people. And I have to start speaking it. And the more I start to speak it, the more the wounds in my soul starts to heal. And the more healing takes place, is the more joy I feel. The more security I feel with the Holy Spirit who prompts me, who reminds me in certain situations of my pain. And I become this investigator, this private investigator who is trying to figure out, why did that situation bother me? What is it about that circumstance that bothered me? And I realized that this pain that I was feeling on the inside was projecting outside. And so I start to question the roots of this pain. And I start to go there. And I started dealing with it. And the Holy Spirit helped me with understanding. And the healing process starts. But what is beautiful is that the healing process starts to take me on the road. God's intended purpose. I get off that road of pain and of complaining, of woe is me and my happiness and my depression. And I start to slowly merge onto God's intention for my life. And in the midst of it, I start to feel joy. In the midst of it, I start to feel peace. That God may lead me here or tell me what to do. And even though it don't feel good, it's hard. Having a faithful life is hard. It's not easy. It's trusting the unknown. It's walking into territories that don't welcome you. And you just have to surrender to God and say, God, I need you in this moment. Sometimes I'll go into certain situations and after I leave and I get in my car, I'm like, oh God, I need you in this moment to help me. That was really, really hard. And in those moments, He comforts me. In those moments, He comforts me. And in those comforting moments, I find the courage because I'm reminded of the last moment that He comforts me. And I'm reminded that He's there to guide me. And I'm reminded that I can have this beautiful, blessed assurance in Him. And the more I traverse, the more I continue on, my soul starts to heal more and more. And this journey becomes more clearer and clearer. And so I'm just here to encourage you this beautiful day that no matter where you find yourself today, is to first recognize where you are. Recognize that what happened to you don't define you. What happens to me don't define me. God has something bigger and better. And He's going to use those moments of pain to make this moment my purpose. I mean, who else can God use to be sitting here in this beautiful park? I love flowers. I love nature. I just love it all. And I can just come and share with you fragments of my life that was painful and feel so good about doing it. I want to encourage you that God is going to use your pain for your purpose. But first, you have to trust Him. You have to allow Him in those broken places. And you have to start speaking. Start speaking your truth. And the more you do it, the sting of shame will leave you. The more you open up, you release pain that's stored and lodged on the inside of you. And you are going to feel so proud of yourself for having the courage, for trusting God to do it and to walk with Him. And I have something else for you. You are going to smell like this beautiful magnolia flower. Oh, yes. This symbolizes you. Beautiful, extraordinary, and smells so beautiful. This flower represents you. This flower represents me. God's amazing beauty. But we have to trust Him to let go of our past and to move into this beautiful and abundant purpose He has for us. I pray that God will just bless you. I pray that He will continue to keep you and just make His face to shine beautifully upon you today. God bless you. Much love and blessings. Enjoy.